My name is Michael Henderson. I was going to say lead designer, but I'm the only designer on Gossamer Frontier. It is a sci-fantasy solo TTRPG meant for nerds like myself who enjoy Mass Effect, Baldur's Gate 3, Dragon Age Inquisition in particular, and puts you in the role of a captain on a starship, and you'll be jumping from place to place, trying to help your people, save them from an existential threat. And all the while, building relationships with your crew members. So you recruit them, you earn their trust, and then potentially engage in a romantic relationship with them. If you enjoy games like Mass Effect, that's the vibe that it's going for. So if you are into that sort of thing, Gossamer Frontier might be up your alley. So a little bit of background on myself. I have been in the video games industry for almost 10 years. Let's see, 7 as the lead designer on PlanetSide 2, 1 here at Amazon recently before the whole project got scuttled, and then in between that doing some indie ventures. In between that, a lot of time was spent building TTRPGs. The first project was on BackerKit. It was the first thing that I've ever crowdfunded, the first TTRPG that I've ever published, and it's a game called Distal, and that one is massive. It's 294-ish pages. It is a full system, D20 based. With that being the case, I love creating things. The act of creation it's the thing that allows me to wake up in the morning and feel good about being a human being. I like to make things to share with other people, and if I'm not doing that, it feels like there's something wrong. And creating Gossamer Frontier and creating Distal is really an effort to keep pushing, to create, despite all the gravities of life. So, needing to make a living wage, needing to feed your family, that sort of thing. I want to be able to create in spite of that and not get crushed by the corporate machine. But let's talk a bit about the game itself. So the feeling, you can go through the campaign and do that. So and I urge you to just kind of read through what's going on there. But I will also kind of give you a little bit of commentary and the thought process behind building this game and the aspects that I'm trying to focus on, some more than others. For example, so you have a crew, you have access to a ship, and then you are taking on different tasks and assignments in order to circumvent a greater campaign that is being levied against you and the people that you represent. So you are Elder Blood, which is the kind of encompassing category of anybody who is not human. So you're talking about Naiad, and so the playable lineages, playable species would be Naiad, Weaver, which are like if you played Destiny 2, I would they got like Elixni vibes going on. The Paka, which are trolls essentially. The Huntsmen, which are lycanthropes. So it's somebody who probably was human, but also got bit, or just somehow got this contagion of lycanthropy, and because of that, stigma follows you around. You have the Forebear, which are these like the oldest beings when the universe began, built of clay and stardust. They have no permanent form. They're searching for like their form, but tend to be humanoid because of how they interact with other people. And then the Arthura, or the Authora, which are humans of legend, the closest that you'll get to demigods. They've got kind of a Highlander situation going. Originally, they were like, okay, the fewer of them exist, then the stronger that the Authora become, which might still be the case, but I'm kind of going back and forth between a couple of lore options. One is that I think that just as their stories are disappearing over the ages, they as a species are becoming weaker. So less of the powerful heroic figures that they used to be, because their heritage is being lost. And some of those concepts are kind of riddled throughout the world of Gossamer Frontier. Is this constant struggle to observe old ways, but it's being replaced by new concepts, just the ever increasing speed of technology, and just your place in the world kind of being viewed as other than. So as humanity rises, this is like a tale as old as time. As humanity rises, they push the elder blood to like the outskirts, and you are like a marginalized people, or becoming a marginalized people, and it's part of your role to kind of fight against the grains of society, such as they are. You're actually a part of an organization called Opera. They're the ones that are kind of guiding your story, giving you intel so that you know kind of where to go, and then it's up to you to do the groundwork. And that's where your ship comes in, where your crew comes in. And they all have special things that they're good at, and personalities in different aspects of their character, like baggage that follows them that you're hopefully trying to find time to rectify so that you can build loyalty with them. And then if a romantic relationship is involved, that's built up as well. The whole zine is 60 pages. So it's the interesting challenge that I have currently. I'm trying to pack a lot of game into a very small page count. And that's so it's like zine size, stapled, soft cover. But man, this game could do with a higher page count. And that is the push and pull that I've had when designing it. I'm picking and choosing exactly what goes into it so that you can have an experience that feels compelling, that is exciting, that isn't necessarily something that you'll want to play many times over. There are different choices. You can obviously do different things, and the campaign, the outcomes are different based on what you're doing. But it isn't procedurally generated in the same way that a larger game would be procedurally generated. And that's one of those things that I would really like to do a small expansion for, and just give it out for free or whatever, so that you can play the game in perpetuity and kind of continue your story and build things out. That's the game. That was super rambly. Hopefully you got something of value out of it. I chose some pages to talk through things. So I'm like hesitant to share this because layout is not finished, not even close. Like I'm still, even on the font level, like I'm still tinkering with fonts. A lot of the design is still being hammered out because I like a lot of the things that are being done. And there's also some like elements that aren't like gelling correctly in certain areas. And there's like a heavy focus on trying to get that to gel, because I don't want to throw a bunch of tables at you and say like, hey, figure this out. It's fun. It's fun for a lot of people. But for me, with the short, the limited page count, I want to make sure that the book is doing the heavy lifting, and also kind of like spelling things out for you so that you can spend your creative energy elaborating on like taking that nugget of information and expanding it into something that feels greater. So I want you to be the force multiplier to the book. I don't want you to be like doing the book's job. So because of that, there's like some design considerations that I'm working through. Let me jump to like some character create, and then I'll show you from there. Okay, so this is the temporary character sheet for the captain. So the captain's sheet also has like all the like your crew roster, but the crew also has individual like a bookmark worth of information as well. And then you have your ship cabins that can all take damage and blah blah blah. So there's just like a lot of entries here, and the reason for it is because most of this game works on words, phrases actually. So all these resources are anytime that you see a table that has like 2 to 12, it's a 2d6 table. So you roll 2d6 on it, and the math matters because entries that are near the middle are going to be chosen more often than entries that are at the outskirts. And then like at the start of each day, you'll roll in this resource pool, and then you'll be able to add it to your decorations or your deviations. Okay, well, here's the gist of it. So that's the captain's character sheet. And then this is one for 2 crew members, just as an example. And their information is, so let's just go from the top. So like put the name up here, their job, so they'll be like navigator, engineer, doctor, security, quartermaster, their species, and then just like something quirky about them. This cabin and ability part here is like, okay, what's their home cabin? Which one are they assigned to, basically? And what's the one cool thing that can help you that no other character is going to be able to help you with? That part, I don't think I need. I've been back and forth over it because everything that they give you that you can make use of is through these decorations and deviations, which are the shorthand for this is just these are the resources that you've pulled out of the pool. And some of them are good. Some of them you're like ashamed to use. They're just tinged with like guilt. So for example, somebody who's trying to leave their old life behind may have been a pickpocket. They're good at it. It is a skill that they have, but it might make other people uncomfortable when they're using it. And then using it, like you'll get to reroll because you're better at it, but it's going to generate discontent. And discontent, if you get too much, crew member leaves the party, ruins your game basically. So managing discontent is like a thing that you do. So every crew member has a list of demands that you learn about them. So one of the demands early on, the one that you're delivered it to, or that's given to you in the prologue, is the one for Wheeler. And demand is just to go to like another place, to arrive at a new system within the galaxy. And then once you fill that, you'll get the loyalty for them. And then there's a page number that's associated here in this little baby box. And then you'll go to that page number, and then you'll have the scene, like a cut scene with them. And then it's dialogue that you'll be able to learn a bit more about that character. It'll give you a subsection of their story. Sometimes it'll give you an assignment, like, hey, we need to go here, do this thing. But it'll at the very least give you another demand, so that the next chapter of the campaign, you can execute on that demand, and it'll further their story. And then you'll go to another page, have another cutscene. So you do this you have a bunch of crew members that assigned to the ship, and they all have their own stories. They all have their own quirks. They all have their own trauma that you're trying to sort through. For Mass Effect 2 is like, everybody has daddy or mommy issues. In this, I think it's a little bit different, but I'm sure there will be plenty of that. Heat is the shorthand for romantic interest. So so in conversations with them, you'll actually learn triggers for things to turn on or to turn off. So they can heat up or cool down, and then eventually you'll be able to lock down that relationship in a similar fashion to as you would in like a Mass Effect game. And we pace it similarly too. So as you're going through the campaign, you're restricted in how much loyalty you can earn with somebody. So you can't just do all the things for them. It's paced by campaign. And the reason for it is because it's meant to build tension. It's meant to also interact with the campaign. So the reason that I have these problems is in part due to these people who are kind of douchey and ruining the world or ruining the universe. So you're interweaving those storylines with the campaign itself to give it more meaning. And so you'll go, heat, unlike loyalty, heat can increase and decrease. So if you are engaging in undesirable behaviors, it will make you less desirable as an individual as far as the romantic interest is concerned. So you have to work for it. And you're probably not going to be able to please everybody all the time. But you can probably please some of the people all the time. So you'll work through your heat, and then once you're up to the maximum, and then just the heat can never outpace your loyalty. So again, this is that pacing. And discontent is fun because it gives you excuses not to use the same characters over and over and over. And that's one of the main push and pull, is that you'll be generating discontent because your crew members can do wicked dope stuff that are going to be super helpful, but it's also probably associated with part of their past that they are trying to get rid of, that they don't want other people seeing because maybe they're a wanted, for whatever, powers that they have access to. And they can do this, but it's going to draw unnecessary attention. So that discontent increases, and they need downtime to work it off. So you leave them on the ship. You say, hey, you can relax, maybe we'll go see a movie or something. And then you can work down that discontent. And so you're trying to, it's a little bit of management. In a lot of games, you're managing the health and ammunition, or the ship, I guess, your upgrades and that sort of thing. But I wanted to try to keep the focus more on the crewmates and their needs and your interactions with them, because ultimately they're the things that make the story interesting. So this is all work in progress. That's the caveat. If you played Distal, the character creator is wicked dope in Distal. I think it could use a little refinement, but there are some similar threads in that we we're trying to tell you a story, or rather help you gather who your character is up to this point in the story. So up to the point where you get your ship, you start that first scene. So you're going to write this in your backstory. It says, before all this, I was a roll 1d6, some backwater flight jockey. And then the resource that you get is this flight experience. So what you would do, you would go to your resource pool and then write that down. So if you say like flight experience, that would be a resource that you can use whenever you pull it. So that would be, if it's in the top, so 2 through 6 is considered a decoration. So it is a group of resources that you feel like you can use anytime. There's no like guilt involved. And then 12 through 8 are deviations. So these are the ones that are kind of like the shadow side of your character. And you get to choose where these go. And then 7 is the toss-up. Anytime you pull 7, it can be one or the other. It's totally up to you. So every time that you wake up in the morning, you roll 2d6 and then see what resource you're adding to the pool. Sometimes it's going to be a decoration. Sometimes it's going to be a deviation. Sometimes, most commonly, it'll be this number 7. So it's somewhere in between. So this also gives you a little bit of insight into how your character feels about the abilities that they have. And then all the crewmates have these sorts of things. Veritubak says, I greatly enjoyed the character creation. Just still looking forward to what we can do in Gossamer. Got my play done. Hey, thanks. Yeah, it's going to certainly less robust. This is a small game comparatively. And all of the characters, the crew members that you recruit are essentially extensions of your capabilities, like as a player. And because of that, got to be really careful with like how much stuff you're juggling at any given time. But I think if Gossamer ever turned into like a full 300-page multiplayer, like you play one character and this is what makes them awesome, we could do some really dope things, it'd be awesome. Okay, I like a lot of things about this world that I'm still in the process of building, and it'd be dope as a traditional RPG. Anyway, what were we talking about? Okay, so characters. So before all this, I was a courier to a cartel, and then this is the resource that I get with the stigma of a criminal, or maybe with a family that cast me out. That changed when someone died because of me. And again, these resources that you get are just like abstract phrases, because when you butt up against a situation, a scene, you interpret how this resource can help you. That's the first part. This is your first three resources. So we're going to choose a species separately. So you are Elder Blood, you're oppressed by the Judica, like so many others. Choose the species, and then you roll 2 resources from their table. We already covered the species earlier in the live stream. You have the Authora, you have the Forebear, you have the Huntsman, you have the Naiad, you have the Paka, you have Weavers. Each of them are meant to kind of like there's something jacked up about them, either like something that follows them, like a darkness, or maybe like an uncertainty, or like something about their culture that's disappearing. Like there's always this side, even like the Weavers. I was very light touch with their description, but it says bearing arachnid features. And in the prologue, spoilers, it mentions that that a Weaver, like that most people just don't deal with Weavers because arachnophobia is like a thing. so they get the short end of the stick. Anyway, so we'll roll on so you can choose your species, but as an option, you may also roll them because some people just like come seeing what happens. So if we were playing like a Paka, they have this ability to steal your warmth. So they're burly, long-limbed trolls known to steal warmth through contact, and that's like this symbol means that it is a curse. So you can use it; it is very powerful, but somebody suffers consequences. And then the rest of this little pentacle icon is folk magic. So, for example, they can hex you with misfortune if your roll happen to get that. A Naiad has like a limited charm ability. Authora have like a feat of strength. The Forebear can basically cast visage on themselves and just change how they look. They can also conjure starlight, and they can levitate a little bit. You have the Huntsmen, who are just, they're cursed with this like sudden transformation. Okay, so you pull 2 of those resources, so now we're up to 5. Now this one, it's going to continue on with your story, but there's a bunch of tables, and a little bit annoying to roll in these tables, but you can pick any 3 tables below, And then you're going to roll 2 resources from each table. So 6 plus 5 is 11, and that's your 2d6 table. So you can choose nobility, and you get something like the laws don't apply. So if you get a resource where you can throw your weight around as nobility, or a scene rather that you can throw your weight around as nobility, that would be a really helpful one to have. Like, witchcraft has a lot of folk magic, so you can seek guidance, or you can dream the future, or ward the threshold. But you don't know necessarily what you're going to roll on these tables, and it's your game. You can do whatever you want. You can choose the stuff that makes you happy. But this gives you the capability to kind of come up with a character that has a wide scope. And then we kind of give it a little bit of context. So this is the last phrase that you add to your backstory. It says my first, so whatever first table that we pick, say it's witchcraft. So my witchcraft got me in trouble. My nobility got me noticed. And my deal making maybe got me hired. Then opera gave me a ship and a second chance. So that's your backstory. And then through the game, as you play the game, the intention, I'm still kind of working through this. The intention is that you're learning more about your character by doing some reflection and self-analysis, because the phylactery, the magic engine on your ship that is both haunting and really powerful, is pulling truths out of you that you need to figure out as the player, and then hopefully compel you to kind of just add more story threads to this adventure that you're writing. So Gossamer Frontier, thank you so much for pledging for the project, and just for hanging out, and we'll catch y'all